Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. I've recently taken interest in watches like these, this one and this one in particular. So I found these at a local Walmart store. These two here are variations on the W800H watch, different colors on the bezel there. This is the W96H watch, and it is also available in several different colors. And then I noticed this one here, very similar look, similar size, and when I got investigating the different modules that these use, they're all kind of based around the same module, this one among them. So it starts out with the same functions and features as these others, and maybe you've seen another video I made where I took this one here and this one over here, and I modified them. I opened them up and modified the modules inside to add a countdown timer mode that is not available fresh from the factory. So right now I want to go in depth on this watch right here, and I'm also going to try the modification on this one to see if I can activate a countdown timer mode. Now with this watch here, these two in particular, that are the same model and the same module. There's been a lot of chatter online, some people showing how to modify these to activate that countdown timer. Not so much chatter about how to do it on this, but I found one reference from a guy who said he did it on this watch, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do. But first, let me just show you what it's like standard. Now let's be clear, this is a $20 watch. Now depending on where you shop for it, you might spend just a few dollars more than that. But generally right now it's pretty easy to find this for somewhere between $20 and $25. I found it at Walmart for $20. There's a place on eBay right now called the Casio store that has it for $20, and they send it from Texas. And they are an authorized Casio dealer. So don't worry, you'll be able to find this at a bargain, and it's not worth too much because it is made of plastic materials. This is plastic with kind of a chrome coating on it. It looks nice, but I'm sure that with a little bit of abuse, it'll probably get scratched up. That crystal there is just flat right on the top, so that's probably going to be very easy to scratch. But if you want something that looks really nice, this is a metal bracelet here, and that's not bad. That's a nice clasp there. A nice watch, maybe a starter watch for a young person. This is a great fit for smaller wrists. So think about that. For $20, I think it's a great starter watch. And there is a gold tone version of this. And for some reason, it costs about twice the price if you go looking around for that gold tone version. So somewhere in the range of $40 to $50 for the gold tone version of this. But I just stuck with this one, especially since I want to experiment with it. I didn't want to spend too much money. I think it's a nice looking watch. It's smaller, like watches from the 80s were smaller than watches are today, generally speaking. But it's nice, very functional, and let's go through those functions right now. So right now it's the main timekeeping mode. So right there, month, date, the 6-digit time, and that can either be in the 12-hour mode like this or 24-hour mode like that. It's just a simple press of this button over here to change from 12-hour mode to 24-hour mode for for the whole watch. All things will be displayed in 24-hour mode that way, 12-hour mode that way. So pretty nice there. When this watch is brand new and you want to set it up, all you have to do is hold this adjust button down from the main timekeeping mode, and things start to blink. Here you can set the seconds, hours, minutes, the year, the month. And if you want to increase any of those numbers, you just push this button down here. It only goes in one direction. You can increase. So I'll take that, right now it is November 22nd. So again, you can just scroll through those and make adjustments accordingly, scrolling ahead to whatever time you want to set it to. So very simple and very reminiscent of how a lot of digital watches work. See how that shiny chrome finish picks up my fingerprints, but that's okay. I don't mind that at all. I kind of like that ultra shiny retro 80s look. Right, the next mode, if I press the mode button, is my alarm mode. So right now, this is the hourly signal. And if I push, let's see, is it this button up here? That activates or deactivates the hourly signal. Now, if I push this button down here, shows me what the current alarm setting is. So if I hold this adjust button until things start to blink, I could change that alarm setting, change the hours, change the minutes, just like that. Again, very reminiscent of how a lot of digital watches work. Also, if I push mode right now, See how that's flashing there? That allows me to customize this alarm just a little bit if I want to. Right now with all dashes, that means the alarm is going to go every single day as long as it's activated. But if I do this, then it will be every single day in the first month of the year. So every day in January or every day in February or whatever. Now, if I further customize this to say it's only going to be on March 2nd, every year it's going to go March 2nd. It's going to skip that alarm every other day when I have it customized like that. Or if I go back in here, change the month to dashes. There we go. So now it's going to be every second day of the month of every month. That's how that works there. So it's customizable to every day of a certain month, every day, just that one day of every month, or just one day out of the whole calendar year. Or if I set it back to all dashes again, then my alarm is going to be just every day. So that's how you can customize that. The other thing you can do, and let's see and now that things aren't blinking, this is where I choose the mode of the alarm itself. So right now the alarm is active and the snooze function is active. So without the snooze, it would just be 10 seconds every day at 8:10 in the morning. That's your alarm. But with the snooze, it will repeat 5 minutes later and then repeat 5 minutes after that, all the way up to 30 minutes after your initial alarm setting. So you've got that, like I said, either way, snooze or just a one-time alarm there. And again, here is where you say signal on or off. And it's nice to have right along the bottom of the screen there. It tells you what you've activated, and that is visible in all modes down there. Oh, look, it's the stopwatch mode. And after I got this watch, I started it. So I've actually had this watch for about 3 hours and 46 minutes. So again, it's a simple stopwatch like you'd see on a lot of other digital watches. And now that it's running, if I tap the adjust button, that will give me my split time. And even though it's frozen right there, the stopwatch is still running. So I go back to there and, it's still running. I could stop it and I could reset it. Again, doing that. So it'll go the full 24 hours. And if you don't stop it, it will reset to 0 and just keep on going again another 24 hours. It'll just keep doing that perpetually until you tell it to stop. 24-hour stopwatch there. And the last mode here, the dual time mode. So right now I've got that set to UTC, which is just 7 hours ahead of our local time right here. But I could change that to any time zone I wanted to. Just right here, I could advance the hours this way. If I, press mode now, then I could advance the minutes. Now the seconds are always going to match whatever the seconds reading is on your main timekeeping screen, but I can advance that to, if there's a time zone that is, say, 15 minutes different from where I am, or half an hour different, or just whatever setting I want that to be. One thing I thought about with this is maybe the clock at the factory where you work is 10 minutes different from the clock that you have at home, or from the actual time that you want this watch set to. So you could set this to any amount of time different from what the local time happens to be on your watch. So if you wanted to, you could just set that 10 minutes ahead, or just whatever it happens to be. There's your fully customizable dual time. Except for the seconds, is always going to match the seconds here on your home screen. So those are the main functions and features. This watch is water resistant. It doesn't rate for 50 meters or 100 meters, just regular water resistant, which to me means it's okay to wear this watch when you're washing the dishes or just anything where it's going to get a little bit wet. You don't want to have it submerged in water for any real length of time. Probably wouldn't want to go swimming with this watch on. But for your everyday activities, if you sweat a little bit, or like I said, you get a little splash on there when you're washing your hands, it'll be just fine. Good water resistance on there. Let's look at the back of the watch real quick. And here, I'll just show you. Here's the back of the case, very similar to what you see on a lot of these inexpensive Casio watches. There are 4 tiny screws that hold this back on, and there you've got the model number, the module, which is 3234. So you can look up the module there if you want to look up the instructions and download them from the Casio website. Module 3234, stainless steel back, water resistant, made in Thailand. So there you go. Here. Let me also show you the bracelet on this one. It's not bad. This is the plastic case. The bracelet is made out of a thin, lightweight metal, but it is metal, a fully metal bracelet there. And one thing I like about this bracelet is that it's easy to adjust the size on this bracelet, because what you do is you move this part of the clasp right here. So you've got a little hook. Let me show you a close up here. This part of the clasp has a little hook on it, and that corresponds to a little bar that's right there. So if you hook that around the bar and then you snap that closed, then, you know, and that holds pretty well. That's a nice little clasp there, real easy to undo as well. Then you just do something, this move right there, and there you go. And like I said, very easy to adjust this. Let me just show you right there. There's a little arrow with a little slot there. So you can take anything, any kind of like a small jeweler's screwdriver, or, you know, even maybe a stout toothpick. And all you do is put it in there and you tilt that up there, and that releases this, and now it can slide anywhere along this part of the bracelet. When you get it to the size you want, then you just snap that back down into place, and you might have to just wiggle it a little bit until it's easily able to snap down. Okay, awkward to do this on camera at a strange angle for me to see it, but let me just give that another shot. There you go. Okay, snapped back down. And there you go. And like I said, easy to adjust the size on that. And this is a great watch for kind of the smaller wrist. This is what my wrist looks like with kind of, you know, one of the more popular G-Shock watches. So it's kind of a large watch. It fits my wrist pretty well. My wrist is about 7.5 inches. Now, if I put this watch here on that same wrist, there's how it looks on my wrist there, a 7.5 inch wrist. Now you can see the way I've sized this, there's not a lot of extra room on this bracelet for a larger wrist. So again, this is kind of meant for youth. It's a smaller watch than you normally see these days, but I think it looks okay on my wrist. It doesn't look too small or too out of place, and, you know, just kind of a fun watch. Let me compare this just quickly. Here on the right is a vintage Casio watch that I think I got right at the end of the year 1990. So, you know, you can see that back in the day, our watches, this was a watch made for adult men. And, you know, watches just weren't as big as they are today compared to, say, look at this G-Shock Square, and you can see the G-Shocks are quite large compared to this. You know, here's a popular watch from the 80s and 90s. So again, it's a throwback as far as the size, but certainly a nice little watch. The backlight on this watch is pretty good. It's this button up here on the upper left, and if you push that, you know, that's a pretty good backlight. Just stays on for, you know, about 1.5 seconds. Obviously a little LED that's coming from this corner down here, but you know, that's not bad at all. I really like that backlight, especially for such an inexpensive watch. When they come this cheap, you know, you might not expect a backlight at all for that price, but this one comes in. Look, I think it looks really good. And that's about it for now. Again, kind of a good watch for a youth starter watch, kind of from the vintage collection, vintage styles of Casio watches. And well, I hope you have some fun with that. And if you think this is the right watch for you, I hope I've told you a few things that will help you to make that decision. Now, just one more thing. I was able to activate a countdown timer mode on this watch. And well, it took a little while, so I've made a separate video. If you want to see how I did that, just follow the link in the description of this video, and you'll see how I did the countdown timer mod on this watch. And that's all for now. I hope you will join me for that episode plus more of the Good Timekeeping Show.